This is the Maersk Navigator some 24 hours after the collision with the Sanko Honor. Note how the casualty is lying beam on to the wind and sea, primary fire at 4 point, and the secondary fires between the manifold and the accommodation. It was approximately 6 hours later that the advance salvage team arrived by helicopter and landed on the foredeck. The team consisted of 2 SMIT salvage masters, 1 owner's technical superintendent, and 1 underwriter's surveyor, also an engineer. The first priority of the team was to carry out a preliminary inspection, and the following was observed: severe collision damage in way of 4 and 5 port, primary fire in 4 port, secondary fires on deck in way of 4 center, 5 center, 6 port, and port slop tank. Accommodation gutted, engine room intact, foredeck forward of manifold appeared sound. Severe deck and side shell deformation between manifold and accommodation extending to poop on port side. Aft deck and port side shell hot. After the inspection, it was decided to carry out the following: make the SMIT Langkawi fast so that the casualty can be controlled. Create a lee for the port side, thereby reducing the turbulence in the collision damage, simultaneously reducing the heat effect along the port side. Try and reactivate the ship's firefighting capability whilst waiting for additional firefighting units. Observe the effect on the deck and side shell plating when in contact with the cooling water from Provençal 5's monitor. Also the secondary fires in way of 4 and 5 center. This is the tank lid at 4 port, which was acting as a flue for 4 port tank itself. Note the fire blackened hull and that the deck appears reasonably intact. The SMIT Langkawi, just prior to her making fast. Here you can see that the ship's firefighting capability has been re-established and cooling is in full swing after the extinguishment of the secondary fires. The SMIT Lloyd 73 has arrived on location and is bunkering the SMIT Langkawi. The SMIT Lloyd 73, with her monitors and a total capacity of 3,600 cubic meters per hour, was used as the main cooling unit and was supported by the Red Puffin, the Salvaliant, the Salvinus, and the firefighting monitors of the Maersk Navigator, which had been reactivated. Cooling is a very important aspect of this operation, and it took quite some considerable time to reduce the temperatures of the surrounding deck and side shell. It was important that we kept 4 center well cooled and that those temperatures did not rise appreciably. The cooling operation went on day and night. Now and again, a patch of oil would escape from foreport and drift down the side towards the stern. However, by this time we had the ship under control such that the burning oil was no longer in contact with the side shell plating. The complete operation up to the ship-to-ship transfer was closely monitored by the Indian Coast Guard, owners' oil pollution underwriters, and of course the media. It should be noted that the course and speed of the Maersk Navigator was dictated by the prevailing wind and sea conditions, which as usual were not at times particularly cooperative. Here, for once, they are being cooperative, and we are achieving quite successful results with our containment and cooling. Now and again, a build-up in the collision damage can be seen, hence the increased black smoke. Observe the heavy deck buckling. Here is the SMIT 118 with the firefighting equipment, which is to be distributed between the SMIT 73 and the deck stations on board of the Maersk Navigator. Predominantly high expansion foam, AFFF 3 to 6%. The Semco tugs on the starboard side engaged in cooling. A patch of escaped oil burning off. Provençal 5, the safety and standby boat. Preparations for the foam attack completed, and the Maersk Navigator is now on an easterly course with the collision damage to windward. The plan of attack was for foam to be injected by hand lines via the Butterworth openings at 4 port and 5 port, foam monitor onto the deflector plate at 4 port from the SMIT 73 and directly into the collision damage from 118. Note how the fire intensifies due to the turbulence when to windward. Here the attack has just commenced, firstly through the hand lines. Note the change in colour of the smoke and the decrease in volume. The monitors of the 73 had been turned away. Effect is being achieved at the seat of the fire, which is behind the overhanging plating. A good shot of the SMIT 73 onto the deflector plate of 4 port. The ship's monitor into 5 port. Tank opening and the main collision damage. Note the overhanging plating which caused so much problems. The severe buckling on the port side shell. The overhanging plating in the collision damage. At times the 2 vessels rolled, which caused considerable strain to the moorings. This problem was alleviated by making the SMIT 72 fast on the stern of the Navigator. Together with the Langkawi, were able to choose the best course to prevent the rolling of the 2 vessels. Note the overboard discharge from the inert gas generators. Full port. Note the absence of oil on the water surface. Main engine tops, cylinder heads. Here the Maersk Navigator is being towed by the 118 for the transit of 1 fathom bank after having been successfully tank cleaned and gas freed. It's arrival Singapore. Good shot of the overhanging plating in way of the collision damage. At anchor, in port limits, the bridge with severe fire damage. Collision damage. Note how the pipelines have buckled and bent. Mooring winches on the poop deck with the polypropylenes melted and an emergency life raft for the Salvage. Demobilization of equipment. Empty detergent drums and foam drums. The Maersk Navigator redelivered to owners.